Welcome to the OTC's podcast, where we shine a spotlight on Ohio technical centers and their vital role in shaping the future of workforce development. I'm your host, Rachael Mann, and I'm thrilled to have you join us for this important conversation as a part of the work that we're doing around this awareness of what's happening in these CTE programs in adult education. Today, we'll be diving into the innovative programs and partnerships that make Ohio Technical Centers a cornerstone of career technical education with a focus on EHOVE Career Center, which is a leader in adult education and workforce alignment. I'm excited to introduce our guest, Laura Dowdell, who serves as the Adult Education Director at EHOVE Career Center in Northern Ohio. She brings 26 years of experience in education, with the past 15 years focused specifically on adult CTE. Her extensive background as both a teacher and K-12 administrator, combined with her passion for adult learners, gives her a unique perspective on this work. She also holds a master's degree in educational administration and counseling, making her a tremendous advocate for adult education. Welcome, Laura. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to talk to you about our OTCs and what we're doing in Ohio.
Well, let's start by giving our listeners some context about EHOVE Career Centers. Can you share a bit about your center and its mission in serving adult learners?
EHOVE is, as Rachel mentioned, a OTC located in Northern Ohio. EHOVE is actually an acronym. The first part of it signifies the base counties that we serve: Erie, Huron, Ottawa. We have programs that serve adults in many different ways, and a focus is certainly our occupational programs, which are job training programs for adults who want to come and find a new career. Along with that job training that we do, we also serve business and industry through customized training. We have special interest classes for adults, GED classes, and also just career enhancement classes that can help anyone to go to the next level in their career as well. Some of the unique things about EHOVE is we are close to Lake Erie. And so that factor sometimes drives some of our programs. One special fact, a lot of people are amazed to find out that we have one of the only marine trades technician programs in Ohio. And again, that's due to our location.
What drew you personally to work in adult education, specifically within CT?
It goes way back to college. I was in my student teaching at a local career center. And although my original training was in academic area, I witnessed hands-on education and I was really drawn to it. Years later, as an elementary principal, I started to think about the families that I saw struggling to obtain an education to help them land a more sustainable employment. I really felt called back to that career and technical education that I had witnessed firsthand way back when I was student teaching. I had a very unique path to land where I am today in serving adults in this capacity.
One of the standout elements of EHOVE is your strong partnership with a local hospital. Can you talk about the partnership and how it came about?
Sure. So we for years have been very fortunate to have the local hospitals work with us for clinicals, primarily in years past, mostly with LPN nursing program. A few years ago, Fisher Titus Medical Center, which is in Huron County in Norwalk, Ohio, brought about the idea of applying for a federal grant through the United States Department of Health and Resources. We call it HRSA. And essentially, they found a federal grant that really the focus of the grant was to increase the number of RNs in rural settings. They applied and asked if we wanted to be a partner, and we helped with that grant application. We were one of 8 grants selected across the nation for this great partnership program. Fisher Titus just really came to the table with a unique idea and they made it happen. That grant is really helping right now with our LPN to RN diploma program.
You mentioned LPN. What training programs or certificates have you developed to meet the hospital's workforce needs? Is that still the main area, or what are some other areas that you're working in?
Our LPN program for years at EHOVE was the flagstaff of our healthcare programs. We noticed the trend that a lot of hospitals started to only use LPNs more in the care facilities, long-term care facilities, and not so much in the hospitals. At that point, the need for RNs came more to the table. We were looking for a way to serve that need. Although that trend has changed back again, we now do see LPNs in a lot of the hospitals. That need for RNs is still there. Both of those programs are very strong in our career center. Essentially, some people don't even realize that you can obtain your RN through going to a technical school. Basically, it's an LPN to RN diploma program. Most people refer to it as a bridge program. It allows someone who holds their LPN to come back to school and then obtain the training and take that next step to become an RN. To give you a little bit of insight on that, our LPN program is 1,268 hours, and then our RN program that you would add to that is another 900 clock hours. Developing that program was instrumental to helping the local hospitals because although there are other LPN RN programs in our area, we created something unique, and that was to develop an evening only program. Because what we heard when we started to look at our community and why people weren't coming back to school to obtain their RN, a lot of prospective students said, well, I want to continue working during the day. I want a program that's going to work around that. We created this program. It meets 3 nights a week. Students are able to go for 18 months, 3 nights a week to obtain this. They can still work and have some time with their families. By adding that for the local hospitals, we really added another way for them to upskill their workforce and take their and help them to obtain their RN.
That shows a ton of commitment for a professional in a medical field to dedicate 3 nights a week. Can you share any specific ways that it's really made that impact?
One of the things that all OTCs do in Ohio, we track the data from our students. We know when they come to school, we have 3 goals for them. One is that they complete their program, they finish what they start. The second one is that they pass their credential or their license certification test. In this case, for LPN and RN, that would be their NCLEX. And also that they obtain job placement. We can see already this program started in 2019, which was difficult. That was right before COVID. And we literally got the program up and running and then had to work through the challenges of COVID. But what we have seen through the data of the follow up with students is that they are all working in our area. And that speaks a lot to how the program's success has really impacted our local workforce. Along with that, our test rates are extremely high. In fact, I'll brag on the LPN for a minute. We have had 2 years in a row of 100% passage rate, first time attempt on the NCLEX for LPN, which is unheard of. And I really think that has a lot to do with our instructors, of course, and also the way that our courses are developed to help students have hands-on learning.
100% passage rate. That's huge. I know that ensuring alignment with workforce needs is essential in today's economy. How does EHOVE ensure its programs stay aligned with current and emerging job market trends along the way?
We hold advisory meetings with everyone that is essential to that conversation. We have a mix of people at the table. It's not just the hospitals in the case of our healthcare programs, but it's also long-term care facilities, at-home health, places that are going to need to be at the table to help direct us in what we need to do. Those advisory meetings are essential, along with reviewing the data. We're always looking at the trends. Ohio has been instrumental in developing the tools to see where things are at with our economy. You can search by region, you can search by county, you can search a number of ways and see the job market trends and where the jobs are needed. And that data is used in the decisions we make with our programming. Even to a point, some of our programs, we limit how many times we offer it in a year, how many students are in that class, really making sure that we don't flood the market and that every student that's able to finish a program and get into the job that they want, that we've made sure that we're conscious of making sure jobs are available for them when they finish.
That brings me to how, and you talked some about this, but how do you partner with businesses to address workforce needs?
We have a customized training department that goes out, talks with business and industry, and helps to develop programs that are catered to the needs that they have. We have a number of what you could call catalog offerings that anybody can take, or maybe a company wants to send someone to, and those work great for that purpose. But sometimes you meet with a business and they need a specific item. In fact, I thought of a recent project we just did with a local company that employs around 200. They're struggling with retention and some skill gaps in their new employees. We worked with the company to develop a program that would minimize those issues. What was really interesting to me in the project, and I was watching our customized trainer develop this, some of the topics in that course, it wasn't all about what kind of tools you're going to use, shop math or learning preventative maintenance. It was about understanding how to problem solve on the job, critical thinking skills. We were able to take all that and put it into a course for the local employer. Those are the kind of things we really strive to do with our customized training because we want to make sure that employers employers can have somewhere to go to that's going to hear what they have to say, take note of what they want for their employees to receive, and make that training happen.
I can imagine with that customized training that it's something that's just going to become more and more in demand as the world keeps continuing to change because of technological advances. What strategies, Laura, have been most effective in building and maintaining your partnerships?
Every time that we can be at the table and show an employer that we're affordable, number one, but also we have realistic strategies to help them get what they need, making sure that we're relevant. Once you can do that and being flexible to offer training that fits their specific needs for skills and also scheduling. I remember a time here at EHOVE, we were putting welders through third shift because that's what the company needed. They needed to be able to send people here in the middle of the night, and we made it happen. Those are the things that you have to try to do to keep and maintain those partnerships, to let those local business and industry folks know that they can come and no idea is too crazy. Let's figure out if we can make it happen.
That is some incredible flexibility. I can imagine that's meaningful for your partners when they know that they can count on you to be able to do something that extreme and that you're able to move around the timing for your instructors and for the building to be open. What are some industries that you're seeing the most growth in your area? And how are you preparing students for these opportunities?
I wouldn't say that public safety is a huge growth, but what I'm going to say is there is a constant, steady need in public safety. That goes from bringing students on our campus for that training, but also we work a lot with our local fire departments and EMS services to make sure that we also can take training on the road for them. We have a police academy here at EHOVE. And if I could put 50 students through that at a time, the local departments would be super happy with me. But sadly, we don't have 50 people who want to be police officers. So you have that disalignment in the opposite, and it's trying to help to really educate what jobs are out there where there's a lot of openings. I do want to point out that disalignment too, because it's important to know that there's times that we've got the capacity to train and we don't have enough individuals who are really interested in that at the time. But public safety certainly is huge. That even includes a lot of our local businesses. They will have our public safety staff come in to do their health and safety training at their companies, like CPR, first aid, AED training, stop the bleed. A lot of those things you don't think about. We try to keep it very affordable for them to farm that out to us with a contract to help take care of those needs for them. Outside of that, we do have trades and industry programs here. And one of the new ones that we've had in the last few years is HVAC training, which has been a great add to fulfill a local need in our area.
You mentioned that in some cases there's a higher demand than the number of students coming in. Is that the same with certificates? Are there specific certifications or skills that are highly valued by your business partners that students are able to meet through your programs?
It's always important to us that any of our occupational training or our short term training have a credential, a certificate, or a licensure. Some of that's clearly dictated by state boards. For example, nursing, you obtain a license, but all of our programs have that credential attached. And we're always aware of what employers want for that credential. We just started a dental assistant program here, and our advisory board, there's multiple credentials that you could obtain for a dental assistant. You go through that process of what do the people that you currently use have? What credential would you prefer? You survey those in your area to make sure that you're hitting that mark. Every industry is so different. There are certainly credentials and certifications that make you employable. And as a career center, we want to make sure that you leave here, that you've earned that credential.
It sounds like you're working hard to create well rounded individuals who have the skills they need that are a fit. You mentioned before the efforts that you've made to meet the needs not only of your workforce, but for your individual learners. What are some ways that EHOVE makes training accessible and engaging for adults?
In addition to that day or evening flexibility, what I often hear from students is how much they appreciate having a cohort based learning. And what that means is when they come into their class on first day, they are with that group of students throughout their whole program. You don't see that more in a college or higher ed setting, but at a career center, we're able to do that. I think that cohort based learning, those students, they keep each other on task because they're all like, hey, we started this together. We're all finishing it together. And you hear that camaraderie so much. That leads me to another thing the the age differences that we have in our students. We certainly have students that come straight out of high school to come to our programs. We do see some students come in who have tried college, it just wasn't for them. We see the individual with a family who maybe has become disenchanted with their current job, or they just really want to change, or have found out that they need to add some skills to be employable. We have such a wide mix of ages in our classrooms that sometimes you would think that cohort based may not work. But what I see is leaders rising to the top. And it isn't always due to age that lends to that role, but we just see such a strong identity with those cohorts. And you see it at their graduations when they're celebrating. It's just such a great thing to see. One other way of how we engage the learners, the way that our courses are developed, especially the healthcare ones, and I think this is critical to keeping interest of students. You have to learn content. But let's say that you have a class where there's 96 hours of theory. Once you've gotten that theory, then we do skill labs, we do simulations, we go to clinicals, all in that same course on that same topic. Even to a point that we try to align what patient you might get on the clinical floor to what you practiced in the skill lab. Whenever you're in that course, you get to do all those things. Then when your next course starts, you're back to learning theory. But we intersperse the clinicals, the sim labs, the skill labs, and that holds our adult students' interest because they're not just sitting for all the content and then getting to do clinicals at the end of their program. They're in and out of those clinicals and they're excited about that.
But it sounds like you're really putting in the effort to ensure that everyone has a place and that you're meeting those various needs. We know that adult learners sometimes they're balancing education with other responsibilities, such as work, but then also family. Are there things that you're doing to help with their well being?
Those are definitely challenges. We pride ourselves on having a full-time counselor with our adult department. She's amazing with getting students resources that they need. And as a whole, EHOVE campus, we've been very, I think, ahead of the curve on some things with our Erie County Health Department has a campus-based, community-based healthcare facility right on our campus, which includes a mental health professional, a doctor. They have dentist services back there too. If an adult student who has a sick child, they can bring them to the health clinic right on our campus before they go to class. There's things like to make sure that students have access to things that are hard to fit in when you were trying to do school, work, and family, and not necessarily in that order. Family always needs to come first. Our students talk to us a lot about how their families are so supportive. It's just that community feel really helps. And then having some services on our campus that students know that they can access while they're going through the program, such as the community-based health facility and our full-time counselor.
Laura, I'm sure our audience would love to hear a success story about a student who's thrived in one of your programs. Do you have a success story that you could share?
We are a adult diploma provider for the state of Ohio. So someone can come in who does not have their high school diploma. And we only have certain programs that qualify, but you go through those programs and you earn the credential and your high school diploma at the same time. Monica did that. She was a high school dropout at the age of 16. She came here for her adult diploma and earned it through taking our EMT program. When she finished the EMT program, she went straight to paramedic and she successfully completed paramedic. She works for a local ambulance service now, which is like literally a mile and a half from our campus. But also, I did just hear recently she's potentially going for her paramedic to RN. And so Monica's just been one of those people that came in and just went straight through some programming that really was life changing for her. And she is just a huge success story.
For the folks who are listening in, be sure to expand on the details of this podcast, and you'll find a link to EHOVE so that you'll be able to watch that video as well as see some amazing statistics, such as the thousands of people in the community who have taken courses through EHOVE and the tremendous impact that your career center is making. Looking ahead, what are some of the goals EHOVE has for the future? Are you working to expand any programs or strengthen partnerships?
It's an exciting time at EHOVE. We will be expanding our facilities in the next 3 to 4 years. We already are in the works of adding a CDL program. Probably by this fall, that will be up and running. And I'm really excited. We currently have an occupational therapy assistant program on our campus through Lorain County Community College. And so that is a long-standing partnership that we've had. Essentially, their only OTA program is on our campus. And so we are now going to do the same thing in a program with them. In this case, they have a home program where we would just be a satellite, but we are going to be adding a dental hygiene program on our campus in partnership with Lorraine County Community College, which we are very excited about. In addition to that, just with the whole facility expansion, we will be adding some additional programming. One thing we just added, which is unique, we added a commercial drone program. So, with the drones, law enforcement, agriculture is big in our area. Those are things, construction, they use the drones to help with their everyday work.
Drones impact every industry. I can imagine that provides a lot of different opportunities for students who are in the program. And then the CDL program, I mean, that's some opportunities for not only your students, but also for your business and industries to have that additional place to send folks for training or to be able to tap into a future workforce. The last thing that I want to talk about is the population that EHOVE serves. Who would be an ideal candidate? You have so many different programs. It sounds like that's a pretty broad thing to ask, but who do you feel would benefit most?
Anyone who wants to look for a new job, a new career, and loves to be hands on, that's really what we're about here. Any age, you're just looking to do something new, maybe something different you never thought you would do. I see a lot of students who maybe did not have the confidence to go through traditional higher education, and they come to us and we help them to build that confidence because it's manageable. My heart really goes to those people who maybe don't have the confidence and think, oh, I can't do this. I haven't been in school for years. Give it a try. We're hands on. Our instructors are instructors who they've either recently been on the job, if they're full time for us, they have all those years of experience, or they work during the day and they come teach for us at night. They have real life, real world experience to share with you.
Sometimes it's just taking that first step and enrolling that's going to provide life changing opportunities. No one's ever stuck in their career. There are plenty of other things that they can do and start that next phase of their journey. Well, Laura, thank you for being on the podcast, for sharing your insights and experiences with us today. It's clear that the work that you're doing and that your staff is doing at EHOVE Career Center is making a tremendous impact on adult learners and the broader workforce in Ohio. But before we wrap up, what advice would you like to give other technical centers or businesses who are looking to create impactful partnerships or to start new programs like what you just mentioned?
When I need something, I know that I have a network that I can depend on. And I just think that's so essential. And so I guess what I would say is if you don't have those networks or you have an idea, don't be afraid to be the one to start the conversation because you're going to find that it's likely other people are thinking in the same way and that it's a two-way street. You're going to help each other. You're going to give back to them and they're going to give to you. Those partnerships are just so important. I am very fortunate here. We have a business community partnership office that helps to make sure we keep that conversation going, like help to keep high school and adult not be two separate entities. That is a helpful thing to me because the community sees that we're one school that helps two different populations. Having someone that's the go-to person at your school or the go-to person at your company that reaches out is just a great way to all stay on the same page and communicate with each other.
Laura, is there anything else that you would like to share about AHOVE's programs or success stories that we didn't touch on today?
We have a wide variety of programs. Certainly, we're a little bit healthcare heavy in some of the ones we didn't talk about. We have a surgical technology program that we're very proud of. That's one of our toughest academic ones, but that has a very proven track record. Also, we have a lot of service occupations because of where we are near the shores of Lake Erie. There's a tourism aspect. We have esthetician, cosmetology, massage therapy, things that really help with the services. We are unique in that we are in a variety of different career pathways. So we have that healthcare, public safety, trades, and those service professions. We do have a wide variety for people to check out. The easiest way for us to help tell people our story, if you're interested in continuing schooling, is to come to an information session. We offer those several times a month. Our website's fairly easy to use. It's just ehove.net, and there's a lot of information there. You can watch videos on all of our programs, and you can find out how to connect with us and come in and hear all about what we do.
Fantastic. And to our listeners, if you'd like to learn more about AHOVE Career Center and the opportunities that it offers for adult learners, be sure to expand on the details of this podcast and you'll see a link. If you'd like to explore more about Ohio Technical Centers and how they can help your organization, you'll also see a link to the OTC website and also to OWACS and tons of resources there. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of the OTC's podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with your network or to someone who would benefit from one of these amazing programs. Join us next time for more stories of innovation and the impact from Ohio Technical Centers.